Welcome, 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 everybody. This is Jeff Wilhems, and I am here for another edition of Top Agent Nation's Mastermind Monday. And I want to thank everybody for jumping on. I see we've got a lot of folks that are starting to kind of trickle in here, and so I'm going to give that a couple of minutes for many of you to get in here. Alan, good to see your smiling face today. I see you over there. Kimberly, Abdul, Ron, I see a few names here that I recognize. Super good seeing you guys all. And Alejandra, again, thanks for making all this possible. I know Alejandra's like the straw that stirs the drink here for Top Agent Nation and makes all these calls happen. I wanted to just do a little homework before we get. I introduced my next guest for today's call, but remind everybody about the Backstage Pass, and that if you've not been in there lately, you really should log in. If you're here and you're a member of the Top Agent Nation's Mastermind group, you have access to unlock your Backstage Pass. And there's so many things in there that will help you build your business. Most importantly, I think, if anything, is just a complete library of all of these calls that we've done since we started. So I would like to do a give you a little update on our team and what's going on here in Tucson. We actually had. I keep hearing how this is a really, really bad market, and I know the market has been challenging to say the least, but we actually literally had, with the Marcy Williams team in Tucson, we had our best January that we've ever had in 22 years in real estate. So I want you to know that you certainly can do it if you get out of the mindset of, not choosing to participate in this market. And make your own market. I think that you guys can do that. And hopefully we're going to share some things with you today that'll help you in your business, and you'll be able to walk away from here and know that hey, I can do this, or I can apply that, and just know we're always here to support you. I'm really stoked and excited to bring on our today's guest. I know he's been here. It's been quite a while that we've had Bill on, but Billy's a good buddy of mine. We've known each other now going back about 11 years. We're both at EXP. He's got a really big sales organization at EXP. In fact, his organization is about 1,000 organizations less than us, and they still out earn us in rev share every month. So they're highly, highly productive agents that he's brought on board with his organization. And they're doing some things that I thought you guys should find out about today. And Bill's such an entrepreneur. I'm going to have him kind of share kind of his backstory for you, so you really kind of know more about who Billy is. Bill Price comes with us to us with so much experience running previous businesses, jumping into real estate, and just absolutely crushing it. And Bill, man, thanks for being on the call, and thanks for always giving. I know Bill and I are not in the same rev share organization or anything at EXP, but he's just a leader. He's a true giver. And then we always try to do that with each other here at our company. And Bill, welcome to today's call, pal.
Jeffrey, it's awesome seeing you. I got to tell my wife you're in charge of writing my eulogy. I appreciate that.
Well, it wouldn't be hard because you're a legend, buddy. I call you Money, but I probably shouldn't do that. But you are. You're always thinking outside the box. You're moving forward. You're making money. You get everybody around you that you surround yourself with finds themselves in the same company, Bill. And I'm really honored that you're here and you can share some of your nuggets with our group, because we've got an amazing group and they're here thirsting for the knowledge of your success. So thanks again for being here. Tell us about
awesome.
how you got. Tell us a little bit about your journey, man. Just give us a 5-minute recap of Bill Price, where you came from, what you're doing, how you got involved in real estate, and just kind of bring us up to speed, if you don't mind. I don't think that's going to bore anybody. It's going to excite people to hear where you've come from and what you've done. And thanks. Tell Colleen that I'll be all in for that if you really need me with that. I don't think.
Yeah. I'll tell her you're on board for eulogy. Oh, guys, right. It's great to be here today. It's my privilege. So a little bit about myself, just so you know who you're relating to, right? It's always important when a speaker gets up on stage. I want to know about them. So I grew up in New York, suburbs, about 45 minutes out of Manhattan. I got recruited to swim. The choice was Notre Dame, Syracuse, or UConn. I actually went to UConn. I got my master's there in business. I got my master's there also in education. So went to school for a long time, graduated, and didn't use any of my degrees. I opened up three Subway sandwich shops. I was a sandwich artist, the hat, the apron, everything. I made tuna sandwiches for a long time. And it was a hard business. I said, there's got to be a better way. Then I went and opened up a big nightclub, and I made more money in 1 month in that nightclub than only three Subway sandwich shops combined for a year. So that was a great thing. Then I opened up an Irish pub, and that was fun. It was right next door, and we ran that for 12 years. Then I decided to get out of 10 feet of snow every winter, and I left Connecticut. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I needed to do something else because I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I basically sold the nightclub and the pub and everything, and I went and opened up 6 fitness centers. If some of you remember Curves for Women way back in like 2003 or four, and I opened up 6 of them. And they were pretty successful. And then I knew it was time to sell them because I just felt like I rode it to the top. And I didn't have any more businesses. I had a year off, and I was like, I need to make money. What do I do? Right? So I always liked real estate. So I went and got my real estate license. So guys, I'm sitting in real estate class, and I think that, okay, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get 6% commission on everything I sell, right? Because obviously I'm going to sell everything I list. I'm going to be the appraiser, right? I'm going to be the inspector. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to make all this money. I didn't realize I couldn't wear all those hats. I couldn't be a realtor. I couldn't be an inspector. I couldn't be an appraiser. I just thought like one-stop shopping. That was my frame of mind. Then I got into real estate, and I realized I'll be lucky to make 3% on every deal, and how hard it is and how much work. In 6 months, I sold one piece of land to a friend. So it didn't even count, right? I was basically failing, and I was ready to be like, what do I do next? Then I said, okay, how did I promote my gyms and my nightclub? I did it on foot. That's just kind of like door knocking. I lived in a big golf course community like Jeff does, and there's 1,000 people, and there's a community called Skybrook in Charlotte. And I said, damn it, if I'm going to live here, I'm going to be their realtor. There's 1,000 homes in here. So what do I do? So old school, I started farming, right? I started sending out market updates. I started doing open houses every weekend. I started going to the clubhouse when they would have sports trivia night on Tuesdays or Thursdays. And I would walk in, and I already had to deal with the host of the sports trivia to say, hey, Bill Price is in the house. He's a resident realtor. And I would go around to every table, and I'd kind of help them with answers. People would yell at me, but I'd kid around with them. And I would buy every table drinks. It cost me like $220 or $40, but I was really connecting with them. And then I said, okay, what else can I do? What's next? Oh, New Year's Eve party. What's that like? Oh, it's like $100 a couple. They get 2 drink tickets. Hey, can I show up at the door and greet everyone and give them extra drink tickets? Well, as long as you buy them, Bill. Well, of course. So then I was the greeter there. Okay. So I kept trying to do stuff to just embed myself in that community. Like they would have a Easter bunny every year, and there would be 300 kids, and there'd be all the parents there. So I made sure that I didn't give out a crappy pen. I gave out a Yeti, like a $30 Yeti. And I gave out 150 of them, right? So it cost me a lot. And then everyone would give out a pen. I'm giving out a Yeti with all my information on it, right? So the Yeti's going to be in their car at the tennis court or in the golf cart or wherever by the pool. And and then when I gave a gift, everyone would give away maybe a Yeti as a raffle gift. I was giving away an iPad, okay? So everyone's like, wow, this guy's pouring into the community. I'll tell you something else I did that worked great. We had a swim team there, and obviously it was kids, and I found out their schedule. And I would go up an hour before. I'd set up a table. I would set up all the homes that sold in the last, say, 3 months, and I'd have a stack of nice flyers to give to the people. Then I'd give them out my information if you want to a free, comparable market analysis on your house. But I got them to the table. They weren't coming to see me. I called up Domino's, and I got a bunch of pizzas delivered to the table by the pool. You think all the parents are starving, right? They're rushing from work to get to this damn swim meet. It wasn't the kids that ate the pizza because they would puke because they're swimming. And I had paper plates, my business card stapled to it. You know, I remember I went to the vet and I saw someone had tennis balls with their name on it. Well, damn it, I got tennis balls too. They weren't realtors, they like insurance. And I would drop tennis balls off at a bunch of vet places, all, you know, the two around the community. So I entrenched myself in that community. So in that community, in 12 years, I sold 185 or 187 homes. It was like 18 a year, you know? So I realized that paid for like, for me to live, you know? And everything else is gravy. And then what happened? 2 years later, 3 years later, the crash hits. All the banks, they're not even giving loans. Okay? Anyone in business in 2008, raise your hand if you're in business 2008. Okay, that is Daniel, right? And that is Dick. You guys remember, people say it's tough now. You know what I say? I say bullshit. Okay, I would bring a buyer like Jeff to, you know, the table back in 2009, and I'd be like, Jeff and Marcy are putting 50% down on this house and they have 800 credit score. The bank's like, we're not writing loans. We're just not writing loans. Dick, you remember that? Right? Dan, you remember that? It was ridiculous. Guys, so when the market crashed, the year before I made $463,000 in commission. Pretty good for my third year. You know what I made in 2009? 63,000 in commission. 63,000. Wow. I was getting my ass kicked, guys. I was going through one of the worst divorces in all of North Carolina. They still talk about it. Okay. It was costing me a fortune. And I was going in debt. I had like $87,000 on credit cards. I was at the end of my rope. What do I do? So I was starting to look at like, you know, jobs. I was ready to go in Deadliest Catch and, you know, like go like get Alaskan Crab, you know, where you get some money. Like I literally called. I want to know how to do it. And I had other friends I would see at Home Depot. They're realtors with Home Depot smock now. I was like, I can't afford to go down that. So I was advertising in, say, a community magazine. And I was in 3 different communities, the one I lived in and 2 other nice communities. I always looked back then the $400,000 to $700,000 range. I liked that because those people that were spending that much back then could afford it. They probably had good jobs, they had good credit. So that was my market I went for. So these magazines, they went from 200 pages thick to 30 back in 2009. No one could afford to be in them. So the guy, Corey, that owned the magazines, I called him. He's like, Bill, don't tell me. You got 1 full page and 3 magazines. If you quit, I'm done. I'll go out of business. So I said, I tell you what I'm going to do. You give me 2 full pages, center of each of your magazine. I will stay in. He's like, dude, you're asking for a lot. I said, for the same price for 1 page. So he did it. And it cost me a lot to do that. And I kept farming. But what happened a year and a half later, right? When the market turned, I got so many phone calls because people were like, oh, see this flyer? You're the only one that we know. You kept flyering us, you know? Oh, in the magazine? You're in the magazine, still giving us monthly updates. Nothing good, right? It's all short sales and foreclosures, but at least we're getting updates. So we said, well, if this guy's willing to try when everyone else backed out and ran away from us, we're going to hire you. So my business really took off after that. Okay. But back to when it was really hard and people complain it's hard now. What can we do where it doesn't cost us a lot of money? Open houses. I did open houses Friday and Saturday for a year and a half. Okay. And I never missed. It would be pouring rain. I still did it. I did it so much. We'll use Jeff and Marcy as an example. Say they were my client. And I did open house at their house 8 weeks in a row. And then I would get a call from Marcy and say, Bill, you've been kicking us out of our house every Saturday. We've seen every movie at the movie theater. I can't do it anymore. Give us a week off. Okay. And they knew that I was basically using them to try to get a buyer, right? So here I am, guys. I will tell you, I was broke, and I needed a break. And it is pouring rain out. And I see this couple running into my open house. And it was a client's miss, really nice people. And they wind up buying the house I'm in. I'm dual agent, over $500,000 listing. They call me the next day after we get in contract. Could you come over our house? I said, okay. I go over Wendy's house, and Rick's like, this is Wendy's house. I have another house. We need you to sell both houses. So I double-sided one, sold Ricky's house, sold Wendy's house. Are you ready for this? A year later, they missed their old community. I sold the house they bought from me and bought them another house. So I got 6 deals. The clientsmith actually saved my ass, okay? And it's in that one community, besides the magazine, besides the farming, besides going and buying them drinks and playing golf on Wednesday. Jeff knows this, golf and chicken dinner and poker. I was doing the open houses. They saw my personal open house signs with my name and arrows. And guys with 3 entrances in that community. Trust me, a lot of them were sick of me because I would put signs in every entrance, not just a convenient one. I was putting out 12 signs and a shitload of balloons every open house. It was miserable. I would have to start like 2 hours before of putting signs out, right? But that's what I did, guys, to get over the hump. And that's how I survived. And then the next 10 years, I averaged 25 million a year in sales. I averaged selling about 70 homes a year, about $400,000 average on each one. I did not have a team. I had a closing coordinator. So I worked harder, not smarter. I missed a lot of stuff. I will tell you a story. I'm at my son's soccer game, and my ex-wife is sitting on the other side of the field, and I get a phone call, and it's like a $600,000+ client. Well, we're all jumping up for that, right? And I have to walk away from the crowd, and my son scores his only goal of the year, and I miss it. And I'm just getting darts from the other side of the soccer field like, you jerk, right? A week later, my daughter is in an all-county meet, and I am showing a house, okay? And I'm looking at the clock. I'm like 20 minutes away. If I get these people, these 3 houses, I'm going to make that meet. I don't want to miss this meet. I missed the soccer, goal a week ago. So we look at these 2 houses, and the second house we looked at, they're like, oh, we hate this house. We don't like it. Great. Because the house 2 doors down is the exact same building, exact same floor plan. I don't have to show it to them, right? What do you think they want to do? They still want to see the house they hated. I drive like Mario Andretti to the swim meet. She's pulling herself out of the pool. I missed her best event of the year and her best time. So I was ready to make a move, guys. I was just going to go out on my own. I was at KW. Good company. I don't have any problems with KW. But I'm like, something? Maybe I can save 25 grand a year, go out on my own and not miss this stuff that's important to me and my family and my kids, And a friend of mine called me and said, hey, I'm going to EXP. You should come. There's 80-something thousand realtors at EXP. I will go on record. I was the easiest person to recruit. Craig LePage and Shelly Johnson were a team. They were the #1 team in my KW office. I was the #1 individual agent. So every time we'd step up every quarter, we get this useless awards. That's how we knew each other. They said, we want you to come to EXP. I meet with them. 3 minutes in, they show me the rev share and the stock. And I could icon every year because I sell over 30 homes. I said, where's the application I'm in? Shelly was so in shock. She's like, oh no, you got to talk to Brent Cove. You got to talk to Brent Cove. I was like, I don't need to talk to anyone. No, you got to talk to Brent. So I talked to Brent. I don't know who Brent is. He's like, Bill, not even a year in, I'm making 25 grand a month in my rev share. I'm like, okay, well, who the hell is this guy? If he can do it, I can do it, right? So I would be like, just give me the application. I'm so ready to go. This is who you want to recruit. It's so easy. And for all you guys that haven't been around that long in EXP, when I started recruiting people in 2017, Say I sit down with Dick and I'm recruiting Dick. Dick would look at me and say, ESP? I was like, no, dude, it's EXP. He goes, ESP? I was like, Dick, if I had ESP, I know exactly what to say to you. So you can sign this damn application. I'll be all set. Okay. So we bled differently back then. I used to do lunch and learns, and people look at me and I would brag about, rev share and stock. And this is 3 months in. They're like, Bill, how much stock do you have? I was like, nothing yet, but it's coming. How's your rev share? Nothing yet, but it's going to be great. Like I had nothing to show, right? So I went to EXP. My volume went up because I wasn't at the Keller Williams office on a daily basis in a cubicle where my friend would lean over and say, lunch? And I'd look at him and say, it's 11 o'clock. But we'd wind up going to lunch. It'd be like 2 hours. I wasted all that time. So when I got to EXP, I maxed daddy out my home office. I was so more productive because I wasn't taking those 2-hour lunches or bullshitting with someone about that terrible Super Bowl last night, right? It was just focus and work and get it done. And then I had time to never miss one of my kids' events after that. So Jeff, I just took a lot of time. I'm sorry. It took,
No, I think that's what people want to hear is like, what is your real story? I mean, so many people that I've met over the years, that are successful. I don't think a lot of people understand really what it was that they did and what their life was like before they became successful. And we've all had, if you've been in this business long enough, you've all had those things that where you've made sacrifices. You've made you've invested in your future, but unfortunately there are things that you're busy chasing paper and doing all the things that you think you need to be doing, but then you're missing these life events, and those life events are what's I mean, literally that's what's super important, right? So I think it's awesome that you share that, and I so totally can relate to the story of when you were talking about in the country club, and then you're going around and you're just doing anything to get your name out there. But I'd like to go back though, when you started talking about the open house and how that kind of like that consistency of doing them, even though you didn't care to do them, you were doing them, you were consistent. I wrote down one word. I wrote down consistency. If there's one thing that I know about Bill Price, it's always that you're consistent. You whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent with your idea, and usually they always work out. You're more consistent than 99.9% of the people that I know, which is, I think, one of the things that attracts me so much to having you as one of my buddies. I know that if I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks, and we've not talked, you're consistent. If nothing else, I'm going to hear from you because you always reach out and say, Jeff, what's up? What's going on? I don't know if you have me on a round robin on your phone or you just remember to do this.
I just like you.
You're always touching base with me, and I love it. And I love to always compare our organizations and just what's going on and just about life. But the open house piece, being consistent with that and going back and seeing that it ended up you double into $500,000 deal, then you turn around and sell multiple homes after that, all because you were being consistent with it, and then that got you where you are. Got you some cash, got you in a different mindset. We've all needed to do that break, but so many people are afraid to give themselves that opportunity to get that break. That you got to do the work to get that break. And I started seeing it, Bill, with this constant recruiting of our team members this fall, the constant training, the role practicing that they're doing on a daily basis, just coaching our agents, watching them put in the work, watching them do the open houses, watching them make the phone calls. That's what it takes, man. That's what it takes is consistency. And you can still do it and still be present in your kids' lives, in your spouse's life, but you got to cut out some of the other BS that you get pulled into. And I think that going home and working from home is actually, I get more done. This is my home office that people see here. This is an extra bedroom in my house. I just kind of set it up like so we could do Zoom calls, and I got a desk in here, but I get more work done here than if I ever go into the office. And because
Absolutely.
you get all these distractions that go on, and I'm able to get more done at most things. It's kind of like that Army thing back when I was in the Army. You feel like you get more done before 6 in the morning. or 7 in the morning. Actually, I guess it's 9. You get more done before 9 in the morning than most people get done all day long because you start your day early, you get a lot of stuff knocked out, then you can do whatever. But Billy, take me back again to, I know when you mentioned Craig and Shelly, and God, I love those two people. They are amazing. And Shelly's husband, Kevin, just super salt of the earth people. I know they're really hardworking, but you guys have done something special in Charlotte. I mean, now it's all over the world. You got people in, literally in multiple countries in your organization. But what did you guys? What worked for you with EXP? Um, and for those of the people that are on the call that would say, listen, I don't know about making 100 grand a month. That's like, seems like it's out there for a lot of people. It did for me in the very beginning. I'm like, geez, just talk to me about maybe how to make an extra 100 grand a year. But so that might be pie in the sky for a lot of people to think about, which I know in your case it's not. But what advice would you give somebody that's on this call? Like if Dick or Daniel or Alan or anybody else, Ron, I see 4 names just on my screen. I know that we have a lot more people on here than that. But if they said, look, I not only want to sell more real estate, but I also want to make some passive income. What advice would you give those guys if they were interested in that, like to help them with their EXP and introducing agents? What would you do?
Absolutely. So first thing is grit. You got to have grit. Attracting agents is not easy. When I first started attracting agents, I was doing one-offs. I would go meet Dan for coffee and tell him how great EXP is. I would go meet Dick for coffee the next day and buying everyone lunches. I was like, my God, this will take me forever. So I said, you know something? I went back to my past. I opened up 3 Subway sandwich shops and then they closed the market on me. I thought I was going to be the Subway king of Connecticut. Connecticut's a small state. No more Subways. That's it, Bill. And I had a business partner. I was like, for this, I got to find a different way. Then when I moved to Charlotte, I decided to open up some Curves for Women. They were growing to be the #1 female fitness center, not only in the country, the world. So I said, okay, well, I'm not going to get screwed again. So I said, how many territories do you have in Charlotte, North Carolina? They're like, we have 7 and 1 is taken. We have 6. And back then it was only $29 a month. So I said, I want all 6. And I opened them up. And Jeff, you know what I charged? I didn't charge 29. I charged $39 a month. Why? I controlled the area, right? So fast forward to Jeff's question. And I was doing these one-offs sitting down. I said, I'm going to do a lunch and learn. Because I know, Scott Lewis and Jeff and Brent, they're all doing lunch and learns. I called Brent, found out how he was doing his lunch and learn. So I go to my clubhouse. I do my first lunch and learn. It cost me a fortune, like 800 something dollars. And there's like maybe 8 people showed up. And I think 2 signed up. I said, okay, what do I need to do? I need to go see, I had about 20 people in my downline, who will come in and work with me and help maybe split the costs, or we'll get a vendor to help us with the costs. So there was 4 of us, and we all would put in, say, $100 and have a vendor per event and have a vendor pick up the rest. Because back then we were making no money in rev share. We weren't making any, stock or anything. So we started doing lunch and learns. And now instead of me just inviting people, I have 3 other people helping me invite people. So now instead of 8 people, we have 32 people at a lunch and learn, which was awesome. And I just didn't speak. We all took turns speaking. And I purposely got someone who was born in the 60s, someone in the 70s, someone in the 80s, and someone in the 90s. So we're taking care of every demographic there, right? From grandpa to the person right out of college. So they could relate. They're all not going to relate to me. They're all not going to relate to Jeff. They're all not going to relate to Brent. Or they're all not going to relate to, Joni. But they're going to relate to one of us. So we all took like 7 minutes apiece and we presented something about EXP. And then we fed them lunch and we took questions while they ate. And we made fun of ourselves the whole time when we were up there, I would get up there, you got to, everyone's like, who are these people taking notes? I don't really trust them. But once they get to know you, so there's one true story I would go to. So I was 51 when I joined EXP, or 50. And I got remarried and my wife and I decided to have a baby. So I would look at, if like you guys, I said, guys, so listen, I'm so excited just to give you news. I'm about to be 51 and I just had a baby. Well, no, I mean, my wife just had a baby. And yeah, so I'm starting all over. I have a kid who's 21, 24, and 28. How exciting is this for me? Guys, I was so excited. We get the baby home and my wife looks at me and says, your baby's ass is too big. The diapers, infants aren't big enough. Go get the next size diapers. I go to Target. I am walking cloud nine. I mean, I just came home from the hospital and I get the diapers. I go to the register. I put it down and the girl behind the counter, the register, she goes, new baby? Because it says newborn. I said, new baby. She looked me dead in the eye and says, how's it feel to be a grandpa? I was like, son of a bitch. How does it feel to be a grandpa, right? But now everyone's laughing. Now all of a sudden they feel my pain and they might listen to me a little longer when I tell them about this EXP thing, okay? The great thing about having events like that, guys, everyone in the room is a bobblehead. You get, all of a sudden I get Dan shaking his head and Dan's shaking his head, yes. And he's sitting next to Alan. Alan's shaking his head, yes. Across the way is Dick, and he's shaking his head, yes. Then everyone's, yeah, like this sounds good to me. Power in numbers. So now instead of signing up 2 people, we're signing up 8 people. Then all of a sudden we sign up Dan and Dick, and they live in South Charlotte. Alan lives in North Charlotte. Say, guys, let's do 2 of these a week. You know, Dan and Dick, well, you're going to do one in South Charlotte. I'm going to help you. And Alan, you and I and another buddy are going to do one in North Charlotte. And then we started doing 2 a week, then 3 a week, then 4 a week. And we really started the buzz. And I still do them to this day, not that often. But here's the difference. Back then, we could just do an EXP explained, right? Now you have to give value. It has to be something sexy. If Jeff and I were doing a seminar to learn how to do a buyer agency, no one would show up. But if I said, hey, I have a guest speaker, Kayla Lindsay, she sold 60 homes last year and 50 of them through her YouTube channel. Guess what? You'd have 75 people at your lunch and learn, right? Or, hey, I got this specialist and Catherine's going to come in and talk how she sold 40 homes last year through Facebook. You're going to pack your little lunch and learn, okay? And guys, that's something. Selling real estate, get out there, do open houses. You want to attract agents? And I didn't think I'd ever make 100 grand a month. My wife's like, why would you leave? You know, you like where you're at. I was like, I grew up in New York, so every police officer, mailman, fireman, and teacher had a pension, right? And it's 5, 6, 7 grand a month. If I go to EXP, I can get 5, 6, or 7 grand a month, 2, 3 years from now. And that's my pension. And I only need like 100 agents to do that. That's why I'm going. So 2 months in, no rev share. 3 months in, no rev share. Fourth month in, $1,200. So, you know, I looked at my wife and ran over. Now opened up that computer. Say, look, $1,200. Okay. Haha. Next month she comes over. She knows it's the rev share day. It's the 19th, 20th. We're getting paid. It went down to 478. Next month it went down to like 78 or $73. And she's like, uh-huh. Then the 7th month, it broke 3 grand. Then it broke 5 grand. Then it broke 8 grand. As I sit in front of you today, the last 4 years, I've averaged 100 grand a month. I never, ever imagined it. I thought I'm going to get 6, 7 grand a month. There's my pension. Okay. So my advice to you guys is you have a great mentor there. Okay. With Jeff, use him. You got Scott Lewis, use him. But see if you can go out and team up with someone in your area and start doing an event. Do it once in quarter, you know. Get a slideshow set up where you can actually have slides. Get your lender, your insurance guy to kick in and pay for it. For the love of God, they should. Okay. And the cheapest way to do it, guys, okay, someone who has an HOA where they might have a clubhouse, even a pool house, where you can use it for free or use it for $100. Or find a Panera Bread that has a back room, right? They give it to you free as long as you order food from them. The cheapest way is find someone who has a free room. It could be your lender. Your lender could have a conference room that sits 16 people. That's where you start. And then your lender will do what? Go to Stop and Shop or Publix or Food Lion or Piggly Wiggly, whatever you have out there, your grocery store, and you say, I need 2 platters of sandwiches and some iced tea, sweet lemonade, unsweet iced tea. And for $300, you can feed everyone. And sometimes, guys, when you have just 16 people, that's we can have interaction, and they will actually be comfortable to ask questions and grow.
You know, that's such good advice. And I really believe that, thank you for sharing. And I really believe that that's how we built our rev share so big so quickly was even though it was not, how do I want to say it? It wasn't like that it went up and then went way down and then we had to come and get about it. We just kept building on building and building and building, building upon each event. One event then would go to the next event, the next event, and more people would bring more people back and more people back. And then, you know, yes, we've had some copycats come to the industry and this and that, and there, you know, all these different companies that are doing their thing. But one thing that I find that most people are not doing is being consistent. And again, I go back to consistency. You were always consistent doing your events. I mean, listen, by show of hands, I can see most of you here that got your cameras on. Show of hands, how many people would like to have Bill Price talk to one of their prospects in EXP? Show your hands. If you seriously, do you guys know that you can do that? Because we have a program at EXP called a co-sponsor program. If you feel like there's somebody that you need, man, I really relate with Bill. I would love to have Bill talk to one of my prospects. Listen, you can do that. Bill can come in and help you sponsor that person, and Bill can be a co-sponsor with you in this opportunity. And then he can also, you can be a part of his program and everything that he's doing as well. That's one thing that we've really not done a lot of. I don't think a good enough job explaining to people that we do have this co-sponsor program at EXP. And yeah, there's some little nuances and what it does to your rev share and this and that. But look at, you're not in this battle by yourself. I mean, you got Scott Lewis out there, Tommy Trong, myself, George Philbeck, a lot of us, Ariel. There's so many people. I could name a lot of names that are here in Top Agent Nation that you're working with and maybe even sponsored by. But we also have some really brilliant people in EXP, and that Glenn and Leo have put the co-sponsor program together to kind of help with that. So I don't want you to think that you can't pick up the phone. Bill, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach out and talk to you?
My cell number. You want to put in the chat for everyone? You put in the chat
go ahead.
704-287-0618. And I want to show everyone something. I got to move something.
704-287-0618.
Yep, 0618. So now I'm going to show you guys, you want consistency, okay? I am so old school, guys. It's probably pathetic, but it works for me. Are you ready? So what I'm going to show you is my whiteboards I use for recruiting agents. I used to use these for my business. Can you see my whiteboards? Jeff,
Yeah.
Can you see them?
Yes, sir.
My big ass calendars I just put up. Look at all those whiteboards. And I always have my to-do list. Okay, I track everyone. I make sure I call my downline every month, not my downline, my level ones, to see how they're doing. So it's a consistency. So if you're out there and you have buyers or sellers, guys, you got to be able to see it. If it's on your phone, it's not in front of you. But if you're sitting in your office, of course it's going to be on your phone. You're going to have some kind of spreadsheet. But when you have these whiteboards right there, and I look at it right now, I'm like, oh God, yeah, I forgot. I really need to call Valerie, you know, and I just remind myself by looking at the whiteboard and being on the call with you guys. She was on my list yesterday. I didn't get a hold of her. I got to call her back. But if it's in front of you guys, listen, I'll tell you another quick story. In our bathroom, we have the magic mirror. What's the magic mirror? Years ago, I started putting every January 1 my yearly goals. And they were business goals and they're personal goals. And, you know, at first my wife kind of scoffed and like, okay, whatever. And everything I put on there would come through. One, a nice new house in this nice neighborhood. Check, came through. I need to get rid of my Tahoe that has 247,000 miles on it and get the Mercedes E-Class so I look like a successful realtor. Click, it worked, right? Then 1 January, I'm so excited. I work on it like weeks before and I don't put it up to January 1. I don't want to jinx myself. And I tape it up. Why do I tape it up in my bathroom? I'm going to see it by my sink or the mirror 3-4 times a day. before the shower, out of the shower, shaving, brush your teeth. I see it, I see it, I see it. It's visualization, right? So I put it up. And the next day I walked by it. I'm like, what the hell? Someone wrote, and my wife wrote, in-ground pool. All of a sudden, she's all in on the magic mirror. And guess what? She got her in-ground pool. It's visualization, you know. So consistency, I am to a degree that's probably aggravating people. Like right now, I'm working on something, Jeff, and I called people. Ready for this? I called 40 agents on Saturday, 20 on Super Bowl Sunday. I got to call 40 more today. Okay. And the ones that didn't respond to me, I have texted twice and called once. They're going to get another phone call from me today because I will just pound, pound, pound till you answer, till you pick up, till you do something I want you to do. I'm always here to help you. Now I need you to help me because I'm helping you with these new tools I'm giving you. Pick up the damn phone. I will tell you this right now. Scott Lewis or Jeff Wilhems texts you. It's probably something important. You should probably read it and get back to them if they need you to, right? But I just implore you guys to be consistent and don't give up. If you guys sit back and think, oh, this guy was selling 70 homes a year and now he's, you know, doing this with RevShare. I will tell you a quick story. In 2009, when the shit hit the fan, I was broke, and I had $78,000 on credit cards and I didn't know what to do. And I had the judge look at me and say, if you don't give $5,000 to your ex every month till we settle this out, I'm going to put you in jail. Jeff, do you think I had $5,000 a month to give? No. I was taking advances here and there just so I wouldn't go to jail. I wasn't a deadbeat dad. It was just that, you know, there was expectations for a divorced dad supporting his family, which I always did. That came first. It wasn't me. So I went in 2 years. I lived in 4 houses, guys. Think about that. 2 years, 4 houses. Why? I kept renting the houses I couldn't sell. People would, you know, move and I couldn't get their house sold because the market crashed. I was like, I'll rent it for you. I'll cover your mortgage. And then after 6 months, they're like, Bill, the sheriff's come and lock the door. The house is beyond foreclosure. You got to move. I had to keep moving. And I was broke. I tell you how broke I was. Ready for this? I was back then 40-something years old. I pull into my house and the garage door wouldn't open in one of the rentals, one of my previous listings. I'm like, cheap son of a bitch, landlord, you know, garage door. It wasn't. My electricity was turned off. So now, guys, I'm not calling my dad. It's like $470-something, right? If I knew Papa Jeff, I would have called him. But I didn't know Jeff at the time. So I called my mom. And of course, moms are always there, right? No judgment. They're like a Labrador retriever. They love you like unconditionally. She paid my electric bill, got the electric back on. 2 months later, same thing happened. Called mom again. She put electric back on. My mom comes down from New York to Charlotte 2 days later, surprised me. What are you doing here? She goes, what do you think I'm doing here? You have your electricity keep turning off. Come on, mom, come in. I'll jump in the shower. We'll go out to eat. I come down. My mom's sitting at the kitchen island crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She opens up the pantry. There's nothing but Wonder Bread in there with peanut butter and mac and cheese. She opens up the fridge and there's jelly in there and milk. And that's it. Why? Mac and cheese and peanut butter and jelly to feed my kids. I was that broke, guys. I was that broke. Now I'm on my 4th move, right? Because I keep getting kicked out. All these houses are going to foreclosure. And I look at the mover. I'm like, hey, you see my daughter? She's about 13 at that time. He's like, yeah, man, she's at the front door sitting down on the front steps. And he said it in such a way like something's wrong. I go there and my daughter's crying. My 13-year-old daughter's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't want to move anymore, Dad. I don't want to move anymore. So now my inability to make money, okay, and it wasn't I wasn't working hard. It wasn't working hard enough. I wasn't being consistent. It was affecting my daughter. So it wasn't my mom crying. It wasn't my mom seeing there was no food, okay? But when I saw my daughter cry, that was like 3 months later, that's it. And I dove into open houses, opened another credit card, kept farming, did what I had to do, and I got over it. So guys, it wasn't always sunshine for me. For a year and a half, my life sucked. It was terrible, okay? It was absolutely terrible. My current wife remembers the end of that, and we're always grateful what we have now because I'm like, I will never, ever go back there. That's why you see all these boards. And one thing Jeff knows about me, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I'm resilient. I will not give up. When someone challenges me and says that you can never do that, someone told me last year, Jeff, you're always going to struggle to stay over 30 FLQA. I'm at 47 today, and I had 31 FLQA this time last year. So I want that same person when I see him when we're in San Antonio, tell me I can't go to 60, you know? So I just want to tell that story so you guys can relate. If you're out there struggling, I get it. I've been there. Just be consistent, figure out your path, and your path could be different, guys. And I know we're going long here, but I'm going to be quick. You remember the Deadliest Catch, guys? It's a show where they throw out crab nets, and they take 2 days to throw out 12 crab nets. And the first day they pull them back up, and they're empty. The next day they pull them back up, crab net, 1 through 6 empty, and they're about to be like, I'm done. I'm going to get a job at Home Depot. I can't do this. And then they go to commercial break. They come back, and it's not cloudy and rainy on the boat anymore. The sun's shining. They pull up the crab nets, and they're stocked full of crabs, and they're happy. They hit the mother lode. They made a lot of money. That is like real estate. You got to find your crab net. I was not the Facebook guy. I was not the YouTube guy, right? That's a different crab net. I'm not comfortable in that crab net. I'm comfortable with the old school farming community. I am comfortable going in front of a crowd and trivia night and talking to them. I am comfortable handing out free pizza and meeting people face to face. That is what I'm comfortable with. So I implore you guys to go find out the nets that you are comfortable in. Don't try to put, a square peg in a round hole. If I look at Denise here, maybe Denise, I think she looks like she likes social media, right? So maybe that's where she's comfortable in. Maybe Alan doesn't like social media. Well, don't do it. Find out what works for you, and that's what you do. Maybe Alan likes to play golf, and he's going to make sure any damn person at the golf course buying a house is going to be Alan. And that's what you work on. You have to work down the path that you like and you're most comfortable with. You can't go do and say, I'm going to be Jeff and Marcy and have 40 people on my team. No, you can't do that. You start with 1 or 2 and you slowly build it. Okay. Whatever your vision is. If you're like, this Bill Price guy's crazy, I have no desire to farm. I have no desire to go and play golf and poker and build relationships. Well, then figure out Facebook and YouTube or open houses. So like I said, it's like the Deadliest Catch. There's 12 nets out there. There's 12 different ways that you can market and build yourself. Figure out the 2 or 3 that work for you and be all in and be consistent.
I love that. You have to find that comfort zone that you mentioned, but you've dropped so many nuggets on us. And I really, really appreciate that, my friend. I just love it every time we get together. And thank you for sharing with everybody here. We've got about 5 to 10 minutes left. If you have a question, I'd like to have you raise your hand on here, and then ask Bill a question, because he's here. We got him for another 5 to 10 minutes. Obviously, anytime you need to reach out, he's shared his cell number. Bill, you want to share that again, even though we put it in the chat?
Sure.
Everybody, if they want to write it down.
It's 704-287-0618, and I live East Coast time in Florida.
Perfect. And you are in Florida. You are down in what area now?
St. Augustine, northeast section.
I know where you're at, but I just want to make sure everybody did. So Bill, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I know we have a leadership conference tomorrow in San Antonio, and tomorrow Wednesday, and that's going to be fun to get together as always. But I'm trying to think of some of the questions that I get thrown at me a lot, and one of them that seems to always keep coming around. And you guys you're thinking about raising your hand, you've got a question, please don't be shy. This is your chance to ask Bill a question. But one thing that comes to my mind with our agents, they're always asking us on the team, what is the number one activity that I can do right now to where I can go get a deal in the next 30 days? What would you say that number one activity is? Is it open houses? Is it making just calling people, buying leads? What is it for Bill Price? What are you telling your agents in your big organization what they should be doing, or what would you tell your team that they should be doing, or even an individual agent, to get deals right now?
That's free, easy open houses. If you're a new agent, you don't have any open houses, you go find out if Alan or Daniel or Dick or Denise have listings, and maybe they're so busy they can't do their open houses. You jump in and do their open houses for them. Now, if say you have Denise and Alan, okay, and let's say they need to sell more homes. Well, guys, go put on a little event. It happens all the time at the clubhouse where I'm at. I don't do it, but this one realtor, Katie, she does it all the time. She happens to be EXP, but she will put on, hey, how to fill out, an appraiser on your house, appraisal. You want to come to my next event? I will tell you what your house is worth. Okay. And then people in the community show up because they want to know. And what did she just do? She gave value, gave goodwill. Okay. Um, or invite an insurance person to speak. They will do it for free. You're paying too much for your homeowner's insurance. Come and find out about how we can adjust that. Come and find out how much your house is worth. Just whatever it is to get people in the door, and don't do it yourself. I would implore, if Alan, Dan, Denise, and Dick all live next to each other or within a half hour, 45 minutes, do something like that together. And if you have 20 buyers or 20 residents in the community show up, just split the names. So each of you get 5 contacts and you work them. Doesn't mean that they're going to go sell their house, but I guarantee you they have a daughter, a son, a sister, a parent that needs to move in the next 6 months, and you're going to pick that up. So you have to go show value. So besides the obvious of the open houses, you could go buy leads if you have the money. There's nothing wrong with that. But face to face, guys, I like face to face. My wife will tell you that Bill Price has never met a stranger. I'm on the line at the bagel shop. I'm talking to the person in front of me and behind me before I get out the door. Just talking to everyone. That's because now you're EXP agents. You should be. You meet the person in front of you, say, hey, you got a good realtor? And they'll be like, yeah, I got a great realtor. Sorry. Oh, that's okay. What's their name? Now they just told you a lead, because not only do we look for buyers and sellers, we look to recruit agents, right? But that's it in a nutshell. I would start doing little local
What do you
events.
do with that? I want to stop you. What do you do with that? You're standing in line at the grocery store and somebody tells you, yeah, they do. And then they say, sorry, my friend's name is so-and-so. How do you follow up with that person?
Oh, so I don't follow up with the person. I follow up with a realtor. If they tell me
That's
they
what I mean.
love
How do
the,
you follow up with the realtor
oh
that's the
yeah,
person I'm talking about?
hey Jeff, it's Bill Price. I'm a local realtor, and I was in line at Publix today. That line's forever, waiting to get a sandwich. And of course, I'm always out there trying to get business. And this person in front of you, I met Bonnie Jones. She loves you. You sold her a house. She went on and on and on about you. Hey man, can I take you out for a cup of coffee? Because I need to know how my clients can love me as much as your client loves you.
Oh, that's awesome. So now you've torn down the wall of hey, here's a pitch coming. It's an information gathering lunch, and then you build a relationship with a new agent. It's a warm, friendly conversation at that point, because who doesn't like to be told that somebody loves them, and you want to know
Yep.
how that they got that good. Dude, there's no that stroke their ego. Daniel, great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. And then now you're having this conversation. Then you can talk about the market, you talk about what's working, what's not working. And hey, by the way, there might be an opportunity there for a little lunch and learn invite, or just an EXP explained opportunity, or whatever that you have. But you got nothing before you walked into that store and you stood in line. But because you did, and you were not afraid to talk shop a little bit, and that person told you their realtor, Bill, that's a stroke of genius. And a lot of people just don't have those kind of cojones to do that, but it's really natural for you. And I mean, how does that become natural for somebody that's not so natural?
So you got to have
How
tough skin. You got to have tough skin. Rhinoceros had birds pecking on his back all day. They don't even feel it. When I started recruiting agents, I got told no 9 out of 10 times. Actually, my sponsor, AJ Maida, he has like 7,000 people in his downline. We used to work together, calling people just in a room, a conference room. And we had a competition one day. Whoever got 9 no's first wins. The other person buys them lunch, because we knew by the 10th one we'd get a yes. Okay. So if someone says no, you don't care. But I never call anyone up anymore and say, hey, Jeff, I know you're over at Remax and you probably love it, but why don't we get together and have a conversation? Because I think that the benefits at EXP will outweigh what you have now. I don't even do that. It's get them to lunch. And by the way, guys, when I started, I was terrible. Jeff probably was too. We all vomited EXP on people. I would call up Alan and say, Alan, how you doing? You're over Century 21. A Century 21, you're what you are, a 60-40 split, right? And you really don't get any support. At EXP, we're 80-20 split. We have stock, we have rev share. Like, oh my God. I was like the FedEx guy from the 80s when the fast commercial. He talked so fast. It was terrible.
We
If
called
you
it
don't,
in our organization, we called it you are EXPing all over them. And they don't want,
yeah.
nobody enjoys getting peed on or EXP'd on. And so you're building the rapport, you build the relationship with them, you go meet with them, and there may or may not be an opportunity at that moment to get them in, but you're building equity in a relationship. And I love it, Bill. And there's no secret why you're a success. And we could go on and on and on. But again, I really appreciate you being here today. For those of you that are
Jeffrey,
on the call,
someone's got it. Jeffrey, let's have someone ask me one question.
yes,
And this is
somebody.
a test. Who's going to raise their hand first and ask the question?
I love it. Who's got the guts? Come on now.
Go ahead, Dick.
Dick Lee. Dick.
Dick,
Bill,
Dick with
thank
a
you so
Dick,
much.
Dick, Dick with a nice living room with the high ceilings. Go ahead.
You like my Canva background, right?
Yeah, I do.
The office is in progress here with a big EXP neon there that I need to get batteries for the remote for.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
good.
Bill, thank you so much for pouring your heart out to our audience here, and Jeff, thank you all for everything you guys do. Both your names were dropped in when we were in Puerto Rico for we did an event with Scott last week in Puerto Rico. So your name is it's everywhere. Um, for the newer agents on this call, what advice would you give them besides everything you said here, right, to get on their first attraction call or attraction meeting?
Okay. Great question. Back up for a second. New agents, you guys have to make sure you're a new agent. You're probably, on Facebook and stuff. So many new agents don't even tell people that they're a realtor. You have to make sure that your sphere knows. And that's picking up the phone and calling everyone you are still in contact with high school. I don't care if they live in New York. Just say, hey Joe, how you doing? How's everything? It's been a couple months. How's Heather? How are the kids? Yeah, I got my real estate license. Just so you know, anyone moving toward, please make sure your whole sphere, take out a whiteboard, a notebook, and write down the list of 200 people. And 2 months later, you better have talked to all 200 people. Okay. Now, a newer agent, you got to just get face to face. So the easiest way to attract people is when you have a closing. If I have a closing with Dick and he's not a jerk to me, okay, that's someone I want to work with. I will actually be looking forward to him joining EXP and be part of my organization, right? I don't even talk to Dick about EXP till after the closing. Okay, let's do a celebratory lunch and we talk. I ask him everything about where he's at Keller Williams, how he likes it. And he's eventually going to tell me what he doesn't like about it. And then he's going to ask me, well, where are you at and how do you like it? So we're having a soft pitch. So the first thing, Dick, is obviously have a closing so you build a relationship with a realtor. Go to any event. It doesn't have to be EXP event. Okay. I used to go to national realtor conventions just to meet realtors. I just wanted to get business cards. I'd go home with a stack like that. Okay. So make sure you go to a home event. Go to a home event. Where they have a community homeorama and they'll have 6 builders in there and they'll have, their model home open. Put yourself out there so you're going to meet people. Join networking events, right? I know there'll be other realtors there, but who really cares? Okay. There are going to be lenders there, realtors there, insurance people there, attorneys there, right? Title companies there. You're going to meet an attorney or a title person that likes you better than that other realtor. Okay. And all of a sudden you might get a phone call of, hey, just so-and-so's getting a divorce. They need a realtor. Here's their contact information. I have a realtor, Michael Trong in Connecticut. He actually went door to door with divorce attorneys, bringing them cookies and candy and donuts because he wanted the business. And then all of a sudden his card's out there, right? And these divorced people have to get sell their house. Then I had another new agent that was bringing donuts to the firemen, okay? And he sold 3 houses his first year, you know? I know that doesn't relate to the realtor, but if you go meet someone like that and you have a closing, now you're dealing with that listing agent the whole time. So with every buyer and seller that you get, you're going to create, okay, a list of realtors that you can talk to. When you have an open house, guys, and you're a new agent, right? Don't you have a list? You make the buyer sign in. Well, you're going to get the realtor sign in. And by the way, here's a trick for open house. Years ago, I would have a clipboard and, you know, some would sign it, right? Kimberly would come in and sign it. I'd come home, I couldn't read her freaking handwriting, or she did it sloppy on purpose. So now I say, okay, I'm do a little techie, put the iPad out there so she can't screw it up. And a lot of people didn't want to give me the information. So then I got 2 Tiffany champagne glasses and a bottle of champagne. And I'd be like, hey, Kimberly, it's nice to see you and Steven here. I know you're looking for a new house. You know, here, just give me information. I'll send you a market update for this community. And I know you might be 6 months away, and I know you have a friend that's a realtor, but give me a shot too. But someone's going to win these Tiffany glasses and champagne today. And we've only had 6 people in. You got a good odds to win it. Now Kimberly is going to fill it out because she wants the 2 champagne glasses and champagne and have a little champagne with her honey one night, right? So she's going to fill it out. Well, guess what, guys? If I have 8 people through the door, who wants to raise their hand and tell me how many win the champagne and Tiffany glasses? 8. The answer is 8, guys. All 8 win. Now I'm knocking on Kimberly's door. Kimberly, you and Steve won. I'm so excited. Here's your champagne and glasses. Then Kimberly's like, Steve, honey, come to the door. We won. You like to win something. Now you invite me into the foyer. I'm like, my God, what a beautiful house. Guys, listen, I want to be your realtor. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to list your house for 4.5% as long as you use me on the buy side. Boom, I got Kimberly. I get back in the car. Now I'm driving to Alan's house. Alan, remember me from the other day? You won the champagne, okay? It worked. So, but now, Dick, back to your question, a new agent has to dive into the business, get their feet wet to meet other agents. And you can do that by going to local events, networking events, realtor events, Homeorama, have your own open houses. You just have to get in front of realtors and be friends with them.
Thank you.
That's such good. That's gold. That's gold. Well, thanks for that question. Hey, everybody. I know we're up against the time. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you, Bill, for being here. As always, this is as much fun for me to do these calls, and I learn more and more, not only about our guests, but just what you're doing to be successful. And I appreciate your friendship and your willingness to give to our organization. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. This is going to wrap up today's call. We're going to have another great guest next month. And so you guys, if you got any questions, you can reach out to me as well at 520-250-9477. And we're always here to help you build your business. You guys go crush it this week. And Billy, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Great meeting y'all.
Bye now.